Hi, it's Wendy at the library. Today we'll be making our cup weaving pencil holders. We'll be using hot cold cups and some varieties of yarn, a little bit of glue, and I'm going to show you what you'll get in your kit right now. So in your kit you will get one of these hot cold cups. They're a little bit thicker, sturdier type of paper cup. You'll get a variety of yarns. You get a little measuring strip. I took a piece of paper and marked off markings if you want to do the same measurements that I have in mine for mine. You'll get a little bit of glue with a craft stick too for at the end to be gluing on. So to get started, I'll show you how I started mine. I turned my cup over and pull this strip around. Now it's a little bit bigger, so you kind of let it come down just a little bit till those ends meet, and then hold it in place. And take a marker and just mark off everywhere that there's a little line, a little dot, a dot, a dot. And there should be 9 in all. It's important that it is an odd number. So if you want to make yours have more or less than mine, that's fine. Just make sure that it's an odd number, like 7 or 11. And then you've got, because we want to be able to do every other one and the weaving will come through. So now that we have these dots on, I'm going to take my ruler and make sure that I'm holding it straight up and down. And I'll mark off the strips because I'm going to be cutting my cup. So straight, make a little line. Next one. I'll do this with all 9 dots. Make sure that I go straight up and down. On my cup, one was a little bit skinnier than the other. It doesn't really show. But what might show is if your lines are crooked, say that it was a little bit slanted. Make sure your ruler is straight up and down when you're going from the dot to the bottom. And then go on to the next one. Okay, almost done. There we go. So after you do these dots in the lines, you're going to want to cut the strip all the way down. Now there's an edge on here in the bottom, so you'll probably get down to near that line where it changes into design anyways, about 1/4 inch. So we're going to go slowly and carefully as you're cutting down. If you cut really choppy and messy, you might end up with, let me see, can you see that little piece of, I want to trim that so that that's not sticking out, because that's going to hang up some of my yarn. So even though it's made a little wider there, it's better to trim it and make sure there's no jagged edges, because your yarn, excuse me, will your line will catch on it and then it won't work well. So go right all the way around. There we go. Whoops. Get in there. I know that there's going to be one that is a little bit hard to cut because I put it too close to the seam of the cup. Let me just finish this one. All right, and then this one. Oh, it might be okay actually, the next one. See the seam of the cup? If your line were right over it, it's double thickness, so it's hard to cut, but mine is a little bit away from it, so I think I may be okay. My first one I made, I had to cut through both layers, and it was hard. There we go. There we are. So now I've got all of these different sections. So to begin, you take one of your yarns, tie a knot on the end. I'm probably going to tie this through 2 or 3 times to make a nice bumpy knot. Maybe one more. There we go. So see that? And then I'll trim it. It's got a little extra tail there we don't need. I'm going to slide it down into my cup all the way to the bottom, and then do a little tug so that my knot is right up against the side. So what we're going to be doing is going in and out, in and out of every other one. So I'm going to go in and come up next to it, and I'm going to want to slide this, tug it down so it's as far down. If I don't tug and it's only part way up, we're going to start getting slanted lines. So I want to tug. There we go. In the next one and out. In and out. Okay. Whoops. In and out. Oh, so now I'm catching up. I just did this one. So now, because I had an odd number, it's going to get the ones that I missed. Okay, this one needs to get pushed down a little bit and snugged up. As you get going, it gets a little easier. The bottom's harder because it's so far down and it's kind of tight at the bottom. But I'm just going to keep going around and snug it down. Oops. I think I might have cut that one a little bit higher. It looks like it, and I have one of those little strips that's going to hang it up. So if you ever see that you got a little strip hanging it up, trim it off. Don't cut your yarn. All right, then up and down, and every other one. Keep going around and snugging it up. And there we go. There we are. And then, say that I do 5 or 6 rows of this rosy colored yarn. And all the kits, there'll be a variety. It might not be the same colors that are in this kit right here that I'm using. So there's greens and blues and reds and all different colors. So, okay, so once I've gone around, whoops, this is the one. Okay, so I can tell where I started because of that knot way down in there. So as I'm cutting close to that, I'm going to change my colors. And I've got a little bit of a twist in there. I didn't do very good on that cutting job, I don't think. So, here we go. So I'm going to take my yarn and probably cut 3 inches off. So it's a tail. And I'm going to change to my next color. So I pull this up. I hold them together, I tie a knot. I want the knot to be a little bit past the width so that the knot ends up in the middle of the next section because that will be inside. So I'm going to hopefully get my knot right about here and pull those through. Here we go. And I did measure it pretty good. So now I'm going to go in front and then go behind, and that knot will go inside. There we are. So pull it down. There we go. And snug it. And every other one. So you're just going to keep doing this. You can do 10 rows of one color and 5 of the next, and 10 and 5. And there's different size balls of yarn in your kit, so you know you can end up making a pattern. So I'm going to go around and around, keep changing colors, make the knot so it ends up being in the inside till I come all the way up to the top of my cup. So I'm going to show you this one. And I'm all the way up to the top of my cup. My knots are here, so I'm just about at the end. There we go. And so now, when I want to tie this one off, I'm going to actually pull it through some of these. So let me cut off my yarn. I give myself a good length so I don't have to worry about it. And I'm going to lift a couple of those inside yarns and pull it through. Can you see how I did that? And then I'm going to go through my loop. There we go. And then pull tight. There we are. So that's knotted it off. However you can figure out how to knot it, go right ahead. So the finishing touches on this, if you'll see on this one, I made a braid of the colors that I used, and I put a braid on the top and the bottom. I want to show you the difference. This was done with a double braid, kind of. I used 2 cream, 2 tan, 2 black. And this one that I made earlier today, I did with a single. So it's pretty skinny in comparison. Oops. Sorry about that. Pretty skinny. So I like the thicker look. So I'm going to just show you what I did. I saved. I didn't use up all my colors. I was using the black, so I couldn't put it in, but I'm going to make pretend this blue is the black. But you're going to save some of your colors of yarn that you'll use for your braid. And I have a nice long piece, a couple feet long. I'm going to find the middle, and that's where I'm going to tie it once in a knot, just so that it stays as the middle. Okay. And I'm going to put it on my table. Now, if you have tape at home and you can tape it, I would do that, because that will hold it in place while you're making your braid. And if you can take, okay, I'm gonna pull this one through, I think, 2 of each color and make it that way. I think it would be really nice if you could do double. If you can't, just do 2 of whatever. It could be a speckly colored braid. But I'm gonna go ahead and go. And braids are, you go over into the middle, you separate into 3 lines, then the outside on this side you put over into the middle, and then the outside on this side you put into the middle. So you might need some help braiding. Just ask a parent or friend. And I'm just gonna go ahead and braid. I always keep taking my outside and putting it in the middle. I'm kind of laying it flat too, so that my braid stays flat, but if you know of another type of twisty form, go ahead and use it. You could even put glue on and just wrap your yarn around the bottom. You don't have to put a braid if you don't want. So, it takes a little bit of time to get through. Gee, if anybody has this dark bluish purple in their kit, it shows up pretty good. It's a nice dark color like the black. But there'll be some green, light green, some dark greens, some reds, creamy whites, tans, grays. So there's a mixture. And if you have different yarn at home, you want to change any of it, go for it. I like that they're in little round balls though, because it is easier to use when you're going in and out. So it's pretty nice to have a small kit like this if you want to do it in the car or someplace, you know, take it to a house of your friends, or do it with it together at your friend's house or your grandparents' house. Or there we go. I think this is probably long enough. Oh, no, it's not. It's the top. So the top of the cup is much wider than the bottom, so I'm going to probably braid the whole thing just to make sure I have enough. So get there. There we are. Let's see. I might take this and measure now. See if it'll go all the way around. Okay, I think that one's going to do it. So, but I'm going to hold on to this, and I could tie it off in a knot, but at the end, I probably would cut it and lay it flat in the glue. So I'm just going to lay it flat for right now. I'm not going to touch it. I don't want it to unravel. And here's where you take your glue. If you have a toothpick at home, you can use a toothpick. I put in some craft sticks in your kit, and you scoop out some glue, and you're going to want to lay it on the outside of that top rim. Just lay the glue. Try to only touch the top rim. It's okay if it touches the yarn, but if you're only aiming for the top rim, it'll be a neater. End up being much neater than if you know you can go all over. So there we go. There. So there is glue around my whole rim. I'm going to start with where my knot was and lay it down. Just gently hold it as I turn. There we go. Yeah, this double braid is much wider, so it hides more. And this is where I'm going to cut off right where it comes to the knot and stick it down under the knot with the glue there. So if I need a little extra glue in there, I'm going to put it back underneath that initial one, that first one, and then squeeze it down again. Now, this is very, it's very wet. The glue's going to take a while to dry. So if you have tape again at home, sometimes just sitting it, not even pressing hard. Whoops, I pulled that up by mistake. Just sitting it on top. Okay, let me put that back there. There we go. And it's not even tight. It's very loose while it's drying. So then maybe later tonight it's easy to pull off. Tomorrow, if you wait a whole day to pull it off, it might pull a little bit, so just do little bits at a time and even use your scissors if you needed to. But you can see the difference between the wide braid and the skinny braid. It really covers much more. So you might want to do that, you know, take 6 strands of yarn. So that's it. I think it comes out pretty cool to have that woven look. And it would be interesting if you want to try more or less cuts. See how you do. Hope you have fun. Have a great day, folks. Bye-bye.